If you started investing $500 a month in January 2020, you picked literally the worst possible moment in modern history. 6 weeks later, the market crashed 34%. COVID shut down the world. Your portfolio got cut by a third before you even finished your third deposit. And yet, by December 2024, that catastrophic timing turned roughly $30,000 of deposits into over $42,000. Meanwhile, the person who played it safe and waited 6 months for things to calm down, they ended up with less money, measurably less. I'm Joe, welcome to Joe Invests, and today we're breaking down what is dollar cost averaging, why it quietly beats your instincts, and why the scariest month in investing history was still a great time to start. Okay, let's set the scene. Imagine you're my friend Alex. Alex makes decent money, has $500 left over every month, and wants to start investing. But every time Alex opens the app to hit buy, that little voice kicks in. What if the market crashes tomorrow? What if I'm buying the top? What if I should just wait a little longer? So Alex waits and waits, and the $500 sits in checking, earning absolutely nothing, while the S&P 500 keeps grinding higher. This is the single most common reason people in their 20s and 30s end up with no portfolio. Not lack of money, not lack of knowledge, it's the fear of buying right before a crash. And here's where dollar cost averaging comes in. In plain English, dollar cost averaging, or DCA, is just this. You invest the same amount of money on the same schedule, no matter what the market is doing. $500 on the first of every month. Period. Market up, you buy. Market down, you buy. Market on fire, pundits screaming on CNBC, you buy. That's it. That's the whole strategy. The magic isn't some fancy math trick. The magic is that it removes you from the decision. You stop trying to time the market because the market is going to do what it wants, and you've already decided what you're going to do. When prices are high, your $500 buys fewer shares. When prices crash, your $500 buys more shares. Over time, you naturally end up buying more when things are cheap and less when things are expensive. The exact opposite of what scared investors usually do. Now let's actually prove this with the worst case scenario, the worst month to start investing in the last decade. Person A is Alex. Alex starts January 2020, puts $500 into VOO, that's the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and sets it to auto-invest on the first of every month. Alex doesn't watch the news. Alex doesn't check the portfolio. 6 weeks in, COVID hits. The market drops 34% in about a month. It's one of the fastest crashes in American history. Alex's first 2 deposits, down massively. On paper, it looks like a disaster. But here's what Alex doesn't see, because Alex isn't looking. In March 2020, that $500 bought VOO at around $220 a share. In April, still cheap. In May, still cheap. For months, Alex is accidentally buying the biggest discount the market had offered in over a decade. Now meet person B. We'll call him Ben. Ben also has $500 a month, but Ben is smart. Ben is cautious. Ben sees the crash happening in March 2020 and says, I'm going to wait until this blows over. I'll start when things feel safe again. Ben waits 6 months. He starts investing in July 2020. The problem? By July 2020, the market had already recovered most of the crash. VOO was back near its pre-COVID highs. Ben completely missed the discount window. He waited for the all clear, and the all clear only comes after prices have already gone back up. So let's run the numbers through December 2024. Alex, who started in January 2020 at the worst possible moment, invested roughly $30,000 over 60 months. By the end of 2024, that account is worth somewhere around $42,000, possibly $44,000 depending on exact timing, a gain of roughly $12,000 to $14,000. Ben, who waited 6 months for safety, invested about $27,000 over 54 months. His account is worth somewhere around $36,000. Fewer dollars in and on a per dollar basis. He actually underperformed Alex because he missed buying the cheap shares. The investor who caught the worst crash in a generation beat the investor who tried to avoid it. So why does this work? Why does boring, automatic, thoughtless investing beat careful, thoughtful, wait for the right moment investing? Two reasons. One is math, one is psychology. And honestly, the psychology is the bigger one. Behavioral economists like Richard Thaler, who won the Nobel Prize for this stuff, have shown over and over that humans are terrible at market timing. We feel losses about twice as strongly as equivalent gains. So when the market drops, our brain screams sell at the exact moment we should be buying. And when the market is soaring, our brain says buy more right at the top. Dollar cost averaging short circuits all of that. It takes the decision out of your hands and hands it to a calendar. Now I have to be honest with you, because I'm not going to sell you anything I don't believe. If you have a lump sum sitting in cash right now, like you got a $20,000 bonus or an inheritance, the research actually shows that investing it all at once beats DCAing it in about 2/3 of the time. Vanguard ran this study. They looked at decades of data. Lump sum wins more often because the market goes up more often than it goes down. But here's the catch. That's a math answer. It's not a human answer. Because in real life, most people with a $20,000 lump sum don't invest it all at once. They freeze, they wait. They think, I'll just watch for a week, and that week becomes a month, and that month becomes a year, and the money never goes in. Dollar cost averaging isn't optimal on a spreadsheet, but it's optimal for the one investor who actually has to click the button, which is you. Okay, so how do you actually set this up? 4 steps, and you can do this tonight. Step 1. Open a brokerage account if you don't have one. Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. All free. All take about 10 minutes. Step 2. Pick a broad index fund. The 3 most popular low-cost options are VOO, which tracks the S&P 500, VTI, which tracks the entire US stock market, or FXAIX, which is Fidelity's S&P 500 mutual fund. All 3 have expense ratios under 0.05%. All 3 will do the job. Step 3. Set up an automatic recurring investment. Pick a dollar amount, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever works for your budget. Pick a date, the 1st of the month, the 15th, payday, doesn't matter, just pick one. Step 4, and this is the hardest one, stop looking. Stop checking the balance every day. Stop reading market predictions. You have a system now, let it run. So let's recap what we covered. Dollar cost averaging is automatic, consistent investing that takes emotion out of the equation. The fear of buying before a crash is the thing that keeps most people out of the market entirely. And we proved that even the worst timing in modern history, January 2020, still turned $30,000 into over $42,000 in 5 years. Lump sum wins on paper, but DCA wins in real life because it's the strategy you'll actually follow. Here's the thing I want you to take away. The best time to start investing was years ago. You probably can't go back and fix that, but the second best time is today. Not when the market feels safe, not when the headlines calm down. Today, because the person who starts at the worst possible moment and keeps going beats the person who waits for the perfect moment every single time. If this helped, hit subscribe. I make these every week, and the next one could be the one that changes how you think about your money. I'll see you there.